On August 3rd, 2016, Mary Williams, then 45, her mother, adult daughter, and 2 sons planned a happy family day of back-to-school shopping together at the Uniontown Mall in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. When the Williams family parked at the Uniontown Mall on August 3rd, 2016, they had to wait out a short burst of summer rain in their car before entering the mall at the Burlington entrance, a side of the mall which Mary and her family had never entered from before.
When I went to the mall, it was such a great day because I got to spend time with my mother and my sons and my daughter.
When I was walking in the mall, I was just hoping it would be just like a normal day. I'd go get my school clothes.
I was going in there for school shoes, school shopping, because there was a deal on the papers for school shoes, which I was going to get the black and yellow ones.
I get out of the car, we were walking into the mall, walked through the doors, and I was looking where I was going, and there's bright lights and glossy floors. You couldn't see any water laying there.
There was no bucket, there was no wet floor sign, no cone, nothing, nothing that would tell you not to walk. So you're not thinking anything of it. And if you would go back there on a rainy day now, the roof, I'm sure there's going to be a bucket there in that exact spot.
We was in front of her. My grandma was like right there behind us, and then like we just heard my grandma say something. We turned around and she was just on the ground laying. You
could tell she wasn't there. It was like somebody that, I don't know, it's kind of like a messed up way to put it, but like brain dead.
A bunch of water right where she was laying. Then we asked her, she was okay. She couldn't really like get it out type, but she was trying to. She told us that she like her back and stuff was hurting, her leg. And then like this jewelry store like lady came over, called the security guard. He called the ambulance for her.
After the fall, we all had to go make sure she, hoping to God she was okay. And when we walked over, I got hit with the droplet. So then you look up, you just put 2 and 2 together, water falling, boom. That's like the only way possible, because where she was laying was water.
As a direct result of her fall at the Uniontown Mall, Mary Williams had to have 3 surgeries on her ankle, knee, and foot. Mary wanted to avoid surgery and attempted physical therapy. Unfortunately, she found that therapy was extremely painful and that it was neither yielding a clinical benefit nor regained function. Mary ultimately lost her ability to walk. Mall ownership maintains that there were never any documented leaks from skylights at the Uniontown Mall. But that contradicts not only Mary's lived experience, but mall management's sworn testimony and the sworn testimony of Jade Klimek.
When you were doing your rounds and using the dry mop, did you notice little puddles of water ever that came from the skylights? First, I will ask you generally. When you were walking around doing your rounds in the areas you were responsible for, if you ever noticed puddles of water that you attributed to skylights leaking?
Yes.
And were they mostly near the entrances where the skylights are, or were they all over?
Mostly where the skylights are, I'm thinking.
In August of 2016 was anyone putting buckets out for leaking skylights?
Not that I'm aware of.
No? Do you know if NAMDAR employees were testifying that buckets were being put out under leaking skylights in August of 2016?
Not that I recall.
Did you read Ron Smith's deposition transcript?
Sorted through it, yes.
Ron Smith mentioned hot spots from skylights. Do you know what hot spots from skylights are?
It's not a broad term in real estate.
Do you know if Ron Smith was referring to hot spots as areas where skylights would commonly leak?
Can't really interpret what he was referencing.
Well, he said the skylights would leak. Are you aware of that?
Possibly.
Possibly the skylights would leak, or possibly you're aware of it?
Possibly they could leak.
But they were leaking. Are you aware of that?
When?
In August of 2016.
We have no record of any leaks in August of 2016.
Are you saying that NAMDAR was not aware that the skylights were leaking in 2016?
We have no record of any leaks.
What about the transcript of Jade Klimek? Are you familiar with that transcript?
Sorted through, yes.
And Ms. Klimek testified that the skylights would leak every time it would rain. Do you remember seeing that?
Yes.
And what does Namdar disagree with Ms. Klimek's recollection of the skylights leaking in 2016?
It's her opinion, and we have no record. There are no complaints from anyone recorded. There is no service dispatched. Nothing else that have been tracked that we have on our records of any leaky skylights.
Okay, now you mentioned the buckets in your statement. Now, I went out to the mall and I saw that there were buckets out there now, but at the time in all photographs we didn't see any buckets. Do you remember when they ended up putting buckets underneath where it would leak?
You mean when they started putting the buckets out?
Yes.
Honestly, I probably noticed the buckets within my first year of working there, so 2013. And sometimes they didn't put a bucket at all.
Mall ownership has been so willfully negligent that in 2023, more than 6.5 years after Mary's injury, there is a bucket collecting water dripping from the skylight in the exact spot marked by mall security where Mary fell in 2016. More than mall ownership's negligence, they have been explicitly malicious toward Mary. From mall employees calling her a liar, to so-called expert evaluations which insinuate that she is faking her injuries, even going so far as to commission a liability report that suggests that she didn't fall at all. Mall ownership has subjected Mary to 2 separate defense medical examinations. At her most recent defense medical exam, on July 18, 2023, Mary was transported in a van which was marked in-car camera recording and taken to be examined by Dr. Stephen Thomas, who met her inside of a law office rather than a medical practice. Perhaps one reason Mary was subjected to such an unusual number of defense medical exams is that an earlier defense examiner, Dr. William Abraham, who saw Mary on September 4, 2020, concluded that, quote, "She continues to have residual impairment attributable to the events of August 3, 2016. Beyond the physical trauma, both Mary and her sons have experienced incredible psychological anguish. Mary always being in pain and knowing her sons have had to sacrifice their youths to take care of her, and her sons having to grow up so quickly and seeing their mother live her life in constant physical agony.
Prior to the fall, my mom would do anything and everything with us. We would go play football. We'd go on a walk, go to the store, go get food. Always go to our football games because we used to play football. And she would run up and down the field following us.
She used to always be outside playing football with us. Playing matchbox cards around the house, stuff like that.
I enjoyed playing football with my kids. I enjoyed walking. I miss that so much. I miss so many years of my sons.
Mary's 2 sons have had to put their lives on hold. Only GW works, so JW can stay home with their mother and tend to her care.
I'm usually either helping my mom, either go get her food, getting her something to drink. If my brother's there, then one of us will take a turn on who goes to the store. We take time throughout the day. If he goes, then I'll stay at the house. Then if I go, he'll stay at the house.
We have to always get up with her to help her because she can't really move or nothing because she's always in pain. She complains about it a lot. It's a lot.
To see my sons have to go through life like this. My sons are 16 and 18. They shouldn't have to be home.
Despite everything that has happened to her since she slipped in the Uniontown Mall on August 3, 2016, Mary remains positive and hopeful for the future.